Hi everyone, Meteorologist Emery here in the Fox 19 First Alert Streaming Center. We are live for our Saturday edition of 19atSIX, our weekend weather show. We are live, available wherever you stream on fox19.com, the Fox 19 News and First Alert Weather app, also on the 24/7 weather streaming channel, YouTube, and of course on Facebook, where if you have any questions or comments, you can go on the Fox 19 Facebook page as well as my Facebook page at Emery WX, where, again, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to chime in. So, if you're new here on 19atSIX, we do a thing at the very beginning called our forecast first, and all it is a quick little rundown of tonight's forecast, tomorrow's forecast, and the 7-day. That way, if you got plans tonight, you can get that forecast and you can go about your evening. But if you want to stick around with us, we got a lot of content to share with you because the climax of this weather show, we're talking about kind of a wavy pattern with temperatures fluctuating between the low 20s, even the teens, all the way into the mid-50s in the next 14 days. And yes, we have our exclusive 14-day forecast. And of course, look at the Climate Prediction Center's outlook coming up here in just a few minutes. But let's begin with our forecast first because weather, fortunately, is quiet. Taking a look right now at overnight tonight, temperatures will actually not be as cold as it has been, and that's because of some breezy winds out of the south and west. Going to keep those temperatures in the mid-30s, even upper 30s for much of the area. So looking at a pretty nice night tonight in comparison to the previous nights. Tomorrow, very warm, up to 54 degrees. In fact, tomorrow is the pick day of the week, in my opinion, if you want to go outside and do some activities. Maybe you're going to head over to the Cincinnati Zoo. Maybe you are going to look at some maybe nice festive holiday decorations. Maybe you need to pick up your decorations last minute. No matter what, it is going to be a nice day to be outside. A little breezy at times. We could see gusts on Sunday up to 25 and be close to 30 miles per hour. But the 7-day forecast, we are looking at some changes. So Monday, scattered showers, a high up to 56 degrees. Tuesday, 49 with scattered showers. And as we head on to the middle of the week, much colder conditions with high temperatures into the low 30s. Pardon me real quick. I got an issue on my collar here. I think we got it resolved. Okay. So again, we are looking at colder conditions for Wednesday, flurries, blustery conditions. And then by Thursday, 32 with a high after a morning low of 19 degrees. And then we head into the end of next week, 44 with Friday, partly cloudy. And then Saturday, a slight chance of rain late and an afternoon high of 48 degrees. Again, we'll dive on into this forecast more during the climax of our 19atSIX weekend weather show. We got a lot of stuff to share with you, including the fact of the matter is that we're looking at some potentially moderate rain going into late Sunday night into early Monday morning. Let's begin, though, with looking at current conditions outside. We'll start with our Fox 19 tower camera because we do have a beautiful view this evening. You might have noticed a lot of sunshine today. It was very nice to see those conditions to be nice and pleasant. The sunset was also beautiful. And right now, it's still pretty nice out there, 40 degrees, which is weird to say 40 is nice. When you compare it to just how cold things were. We had a morning low of 11 on Friday. This morning's low was 20. This isn't too bad. Let's take a look at our Turfway Park camera. It looks like there was just a race that concluded, either that or it's about to begin. I'm not familiar with the schedule with the Turfway Park, but either way, looking nice out there for the horses and for the folks who were out at Turfway. And we're also taking a look at our Mount Auburn camera. This is looking off to the north and east, and do note, skies are clear. A very beautiful view here this evening, but as I mentioned, winds are going to begin to pick up tonight, and it's going to keep those temperatures fairly mild. Notice the trees right here. They're beginning to sway a little bit from those gusty winds. So looking at a very pleasant in comparison to the last couple of evenings. Now let's look at radar and satellite from a regional and kind of national view. Because we're tracking that system that's off to the south and west. That's going to bring us that next chance of rain on Sunday night into Monday. So here is that system right here towards Texas, Louisiana, southern Oklahoma. By the way, a buddy of mine just got a job in Oklahoma. Big congrats to you, Blaze. But we are looking at conditions in Oklahoma dry for the majority of the state, but rain to the southern portions of the state. All of this moisture, though, is going to be making its way towards the Mississippi River Valley into the lower Ohio Valley, and eventually will get clipped by some of that moisture Sunday night into Monday morning. Now, looking back at our almanac, climatologically speaking, today was actually right on par for this time of the year. So typically in early December, the climate here in the region, we got those highs in the mid-40s, lows in the low 30s, and we were actually on par with that for highs. Now, the low definitely was cold. We had a morning low of 20 degrees, but as I mentioned, tonight, much improved. In fact, it's going to be closer to our average high than our average low. And right now, looking at those temperatures across the region, you can see here a lot of blue. This is all that cold air we've been dealing with the last couple of days. That's moving off to the north and east, and in comes the green. That's the 50s, and that's going to move in going into tomorrow. So temperatures right now are in the upper 30s and low 40s, depending on where you are. 39 degrees in Hillsborough, as well as in Connorsville and Batesville. 39 in Florence and Warsaw. 36, a bit colder over towards West Union and Maysville. 37 in Brooksville and Dry Ridge, and 40s for Westchester, Mason, Milford, and in Harrison. And the winds, well, they're beginning to pick up a little bit, anywhere from 5 to 15 miles per hour. You factor that in, we got wind chills or feels like temperatures in the low to mid 30s for much of the Fox 19 Now viewing area. So what we're looking at here tonight is, again, clear skies, and winds a little breezy at times with gusts up to perhaps maybe 25 miles per hour or so. But we are certainly looking at an improvement. Like I said, Friday morning, 11. This morning, 20. We'll take 35, right? So that's tonight. And then for tomorrow, mostly sunny and a high of 54 degrees. We'll take a look at the wind gusts as well as that rain arriving here coming up in a second, but take a look at some of those Facebook comments and questions, both on the Fox 19 Facebook page as well as my Facebook page. And we'll begin with Fox 19, as a lot of folks are probably chiming in here tonight. Molly says, hello, Ethan. Felt a little heat wave today. Can't wait for tomorrow, 50. Perfect weather for Christmas parade at Kings Island. Absolutely right. There's so many events that I tend to forget sometimes just because there are so many events here in the Tri-State. But yes, the Christmas parade at Kings Island, it is going to be great. Sunshine, mid-50s in the afternoon. You can't beat it. Now, keep in mind, it's going to be a little breezy out there, so if you're in the shade, you're going to feel some of that chill. So looking pretty nice for a lot of activities tomorrow. Molly also says the sunset was beautiful at the, as well as the sunrise this morning. Yeah, beautiful conditions. You got those clearing skies. And I will say the ideal conditions for a sunrise or sunset is when you got a little bit of those high, thin clouds, because it just kind of refracts some of the light just right to where you get some of those nice, beautiful orange and red and pink and purple hue in the sky. So definitely, definitely good conditions for that. And we did have some of those upper level clouds earlier this morning. Devin saying proud. Thank you, Devin, a friend of mine up in Columbus. Nicole saying, hey, met you earlier. Nicest weatherman in the area. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, James, for the support. And we are, that's all the questions we've got here on the Fox 19 Facebook page. Take a look at my Facebook page, at Ethan Emery WX. And what we are looking at is, oh, Darla says, good evening, Ethan. Hope you've had a great day and stayed warm. Yeah, I mean, I will say today I didn't wear as heavy as a coat as I normally do because it wasn't that bad being outside. But it was certainly a nice improvement, nice change with the last couple of days. So, sorry, I got a message on my phone. I caught me off guard. But hey, while we're here, taking a pause, Ohio University won the MAC for the first time in 56 years. And as a proud Bobcat alum, I'm very proud to call myself a Bobcat. Sorry for those of you who are Miami fans, but it's a nice day to be a Bobcat. Every day is a nice day to be a Bobcat, but nice to represent the MAC with the MAC championship. So Really happy about that. Now, if you're traveling tomorrow across the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley region, we are looking at temperatures varying depending on where you are. Upper 40s from Chicago, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh under mostly cloudy skies. A lot more sunshine, including for us, across southwest Ohio, central Indiana, over towards West Virginia and central Kentucky. Again, mid-50s and sunshine there. St. Louis, though, clouds increasing. Looking very warm, though, low 60s. And in Nashville, rain in the evening hours. And that rain is going to head in our direction as we go into Sunday night. So what we're now taking a look at is our forecast model. This model is going to show us the fact is, tonight, clear conditions. But do note, the temperatures are not going to change much. In fact, they're going to actually rise a little bit just before sunrise. So by Sunday morning, temperatures will typically be in the mid-30s across the Fox 19 Now viewing area. So again, mid-30s from Connorsville, West Union, Falmouth, over towards Lawrenceburg. Our overnight low, again, 35 degrees. We go into Sunday midday and early afternoon, mid to upper 40s. And then by Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, we are looking at, again, those highs breaking into those low to mid 50s. Now, after sunset, clouds will begin to really increase pretty quickly, too. So we are looking at mostly cloudy conditions for Sunday evening. And then we head into Sunday night. Beginning after 9, 10 o'clock, we're going to begin to see rain move into our southwestern counties here. So it's going to start off with some light rain, but quickly pick up as we are looking at the potential for some moderate rain here across the Fox 19 Now viewing area. Now, the climax of this event is going to be right around 2, 3 a.m., where we're dealing with those moderate showers coming in. Notice all the yellow, the orange, even a little bit of red here indicating moderate to heavy downpour. So I want to remind you, this is all happening before the morning rush hour on Monday. But keep in mind, Monday morning, a lot of wet roads, wet sidewalks, things of that nature, just because of the fact that this system is going to dump a decent amount of rainfall here going into our Monday morning. So temperatures Monday morning, pretty warm in the low 50s with that. So we're talking about the rainfall amounts, which models have been actually fairly consistent on with this. So there we go, all the way up to Monday morning. Generally anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to our northwestern counties to almost 3/4 of an inch of rain to our southeastern counties. So I think we're going to have a discussion with potentially tomorrow night into Monday morning being a first alert weather day, because again, looking at very soggy conditions for Monday morning, it's going to have a lot of slowdowns perhaps for some of the morning commute. And then also too, potential for some ponding roadways, puddles in the sidewalks, perhaps creating some muddy conditions for the kids at the bus stop for Monday morning. Now we head into Monday afternoon, and Monday afternoon I think we're going to be mainly dry, more dry than wet, but we will see some lingering light showers. So once my computer wants to load for me, here we are. So Monday morning we've got the heaviest of rain out of here. So again, the majority of the morning commute, we're not talking about heavy downpours. The heaviest of downpours will be before 6 a.m. But we head into Monday mid-morning, most of that heavy rain is out of here. Now this model, it has a hard time sometimes with this, but do note some of these light green dots here. It's trying to indicate maybe some drizzle, maybe very light rain on Monday early afternoon. So I think we're going to be looking at some lingering light showers, drizzle for Monday. Going to keep things soggy at the surface and allow temperatures to stay in the low to mid 50s. So we're not looking at a huge temperature range between Monday morning and Monday afternoon. We head into Monday night. You'll see here still a lot of cloud cover. And then we head into Tuesday morning. Notice again, a couple of green dots we're trying to show up there. So an indication of maybe some drizzle going into Monday night into very early Tuesday. And then Tuesday, more scattered showers. Now again, total rainfall amounts between Sunday night through Monday morning, anywhere from 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of rain. So about a 1/2 inch of rain for the majority of the tri-state can be expected. Before we take a look at the longer range forecast model, I do want to look at the wind gusts because again, the wind gusts will be breezy tonight and tomorrow ahead of the rain. So here is your first alert wind gust forecast model. So this is going into the 2, 3 a.m. hour, gusts close to 30 miles per hour. We head into Sunday morning, still breezy, gusts at around 20. And then Sunday afternoon, we could see a gust close to 25 miles per hour. So tonight and tomorrow, breezy. That's going to allow for those warmer conditions to move into the tri-state. And then for Monday we will see some breezy conditions, but not the biggest of factors when it comes to any kind of impacts for Monday morning. Now we head into Monday afternoon, again gusts maybe around 20 miles per hour, but nothing more than that. And then we head into Tuesday, winds not a factor, but then Wednesday, starting off a little breezy. Wednesday morning, gusts to be around 20. Wednesday midday, close to 30 miles per hour. And then Wednesday afternoon, we could see gusts over 30 miles per hour. Now, this is part of a system that's going to bring us much colder air and allow for wind chills or feels like temperatures to be, well, in the 20s. So, looking at a cold Wednesday here into the tri-state. And we'll show you that here on our long-range computer model, which will show us what's going to happen on Wednesday with that colder air moving in. So here is your first alert. So Monday, looking at wet conditions, mainly for before sunrise. So we head into Monday midday and afternoon, light lingering showers. And then Tuesday morning, rain begins to move in. Rain will increase through the day on Tuesday. And we could be looking at some pockets of moderate rain, perhaps, especially along and east of I-71. But then, do note, Tuesday night into Wednesday, you see this right here, this, well, the green's kind of faded away, but do note the area of pink right here, a little bit of a rain-snow mix, and blue indicating some snow. That's the rain-snow line. That's the indicator of colder air moving in, a cold front moving in late Tuesday night into Wednesday. Whoop. That graphic's going to get me every time. So Wednesday morning, we could be looking at a few flurries, maybe a light snow shower, and this will continue into Wednesday afternoon, into Wednesday evening. Again, flurries, a light snow shower perhaps, is not out of the question. And then we head into the latter half of the week, and temperatures will warm up. So we'll take a look at the 7-day forecast coming up in a couple of minutes, but let's first look at some of those Facebook comments and questions. And yeah, before I dive into that, we are going to go look at the 7-day forecast, beyond the 7-day forecast, and of course the Climate Prediction Center's outlooks of not only the next 2 weeks, but also the next 3 to 4 weeks, and perhaps looking at the monthly outlook, if I believe I have that graphic pulled up here. All coming up in just a few minutes. Okay. I don't see any additional comments or questions on the Fox 19 Facebook page. Take a look real quick, though, on my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. Just one comment there. So, no new comments at this time. Not a sponsor, but lately I've been getting into a lot of liquid death. Sparkling water. It's kind of the latest thing I've been staying hydrated with. Okay, so no new comments. So we'll go ahead and go back to the forecast here. So let's look at the 7-day for Cincinnati. So kind of a roller coaster with temperatures. You'll see here that we are dealing with warming conditions for tomorrow and Monday. Temperatures will begin to fall down as we head on into Tuesday and especially Wednesday, Thursday. So Tuesday, we're looking at a high of 49 degrees. Again, scattered showers, going to start in the morning and then continue during the afternoon on and off. And then the cold front passes through Tuesday night into Wednesday. That's when we're looking at that potential for maybe a rain-snow mix, low of 27. Wednesday, temperatures struggle to get in the low 30s. Looking at a few flurries on and off, maybe a few light snow showers in the evening. Blustery with Wednesday gusts upwards of 30 miles per hour. And then conditions will eventually clear out Wednesday night into Thursday, hence the low down to 19 degrees. And Thursday's high only 32 because of that cold start with a mix of sun and clouds. But we get a big boost in temperatures as an area of high pressure begins to kind of move to our south and kind of allows for some southwesterly flow. 44 for a high on Wednesday, and then Saturday, 48 degrees, and again, that slight chance of rain later in the day. So when it comes to the climate here in the tri-state around this time of the year, you tend to get these big temperature swings because we're kind of in an area where you get kind of the two different air masses, much colder air masses, cold and dry, and warm and, or I should say mild and wet. And this is kind of the output of it. You get a couple cold days, a few warm and wet days. Not to mention it's a La Nina pattern, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. But this is the 7-day forecast. Now let's go beyond the 7-day forecast. And as you can see, temperatures are going to warm up again December 15th and 16th. Back in the low 50s for highs, lows into the 30s and 40s, along with rain chances. And then temperatures will begin to tumble. Mid to upper 40s, eventually becoming the lower 40s by Saturday of the 21st of the month of December. And with that, perhaps a few light showers. Now, models have been kind of going back and forth on the days here as opposed to the arrival of our next system by that point of the 19th, 20th, and 21st. Some models are saying perhaps Thursday afternoon with some rain. Others are pushing it to Friday, and in a weak secondary system, perhaps on Saturday. But right now, I would say take those days with a grain of salt with the rain chances because one of those days could be more dry than wet. But Tuesday and Wednesday beginning to look a lot drier here as we get closer towards those dates with a mix of sun and clouds. But Sunday and Monday do look wet right now, along with those warm conditions here in the tri-state. So that is beyond the 7-day forecast. Now let's give you the 7-day plus, showing you all 14 days with the highs and lows and the average highs and lows with climate averages, again, for this region here. So we are looking at, generally speaking, the majority of the next 14 days for temperatures to be above normal. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, above normal highs and lows. Wednesday, Thursday, obviously a big drop in those temperatures. But then we go right back above normal right around Saturday the 14th, and it stays that way through the first half of the following weekend. So, again, in terms of what is near normal for this time of the year, we're going to be just above that for the bulk of the next 14 days. And that's why the Climate Prediction Center does have temperatures above normal in their outlook here. Once the graphic loads, it's a data map, so it takes a second for it to load. But once you'll see it behind me, you'll see a lot of red. Indeed, that is the case because, again, the Climate Prediction Center has a lot of red, high confidence with temperatures being above normal. And I fully agree with that because we're kind of in this pattern where we're seeing this big flow of warm southwesterly winds as an area of high pressure sits off right in here. And high pressure spins like a clock. And what's going to do is it's going to pull in some of that tropical air mass here into the central plains. And with that, when it comes to rain, according to the Climate Prediction Center, we are kind of in the middle. So the green here in the Great Lakes region, that is evident of a La Nina pattern. It's been kind of a consistent thing we've seen recently. That's why there's been a lot of lake effect snow. It's setting up that La Nina pattern. It's a weak La Nina, but still nonetheless moisture kind of coming in waves through the northern Ohio Valley as well as in the Great Lakes region. It's kind of typical to see. But that high pressure I was mentioning kind of fixated here. It's going to pull in some warmer air, and in consequence of that, pulling in that warm air from Mexico and the south and west, it's going to create this really large area of dry conditions over towards the Rockies. But for us, we're going to be seeing near normal precipitation according to the Climate Prediction Center. Now, let's look at the next 3 to 4 weeks. Temperatures getting closer to normal. So this is going to include around Christmas week, even into New Year's. And this is kind of what we were seeing on the end of that 14-day forecast. Remember, temperatures are getting closer to normal. 43, I believe, is the temperature by December 21st. Getting closer to normal, and so there's equal chances of above or below normal temperatures. So I think we're going to begin to get that cooler air working in right around that week of Christmas, though this far out it is too far to talk about conditions on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day for the time being. It's still got a lot of days to work with before we get there. But when it comes to that, we're also looking at near normal precipitation. So nothing outlandish in terms of a lot of moisture or a lot of dry conditions, but with the with the fact that we're dealing with those on and off rain chances up until the 21st. After that, the pattern's kind of to be determined for the time being. So those are the Climate Prediction Center's outlooks for both the 8 to 14 day and the next 3 to 4 weeks. And I just showed you the 7-day and 14-day forecasts. Do we have any questions or comments? If you have any, please let me know on the Fox 19 Facebook page as well as the my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. So again, kind of the skinny here with the first alert forecast on 19atSIX is tonight and tomorrow breezy and warm. Tonight's lows will be in the mid-30s. Tomorrow's highs will be in the mid-50s. And tomorrow, a lot of sunshine, looking really nice. And then we're looking at rain chances increasing Sunday night into Monday. Could be a first alert weather day because of those moderate downpours, especially late Sunday night into very early Monday morning. And then Tuesday, looking at another round of showers. And that's ahead of the climax of that frontal system moving through Tuesday night into Wednesday. It's going to bring us a rain-snow mix Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Temperatures will tumble from 49 to 27. Wednesday, 33, flurries, blustery conditions. Wednesday, keep an eye on too. We could be looking at gusts up to 30, maybe even 35 miles per hour, according to the model I just showed you. And that will create wind chills in the 20s, perhaps even teens in local spots. But speaking of teens, we got overnight lows Wednesday night into Thursday morning down to 19 degrees. Thursday, 32 and a mix of sun and clouds. Friday, partly cloudy and 44. And then Saturday looks dry now, but rain could begin to increase Saturday night going into the latter half of the following weekend. Or next weekend, I should say. So that is the 7-day forecast. We'll take one last look at those comments and questions on the Fox 19 Facebook page as well as my Facebook page. Okay, Devin, what is the coolest instrument you have at Fox 19 Meteorology Department? Well, I'm trying to think. We used to have instruments on our storm tracker. That's the vehicle we drive whenever we're tracking snow or rain. I'm often the one that's in it. And it's kind of a cramped seating just because of the fact you have a large device that you can have a laptop or an iPad on to look at radar or conditions, things of that nature. And that vehicle used to have a wind vane, anemometer, thermometer, and I'm thinking a barometer, and I think that's it. But I think it dysfunctioned, and right now it's behind the studio set. I would say the coolest instrument we currently have. Chief Meteorologist Steve Horsemeyer has this, and we use it in the summertime more often than any other time of the year. We have a sling psychrometer, which is really good at detecting wet bulb temperatures. And it allows you to kind of determine the amount of moisture in the atmosphere and at what point can you reach saturation in the atmosphere. That's a cool device. But we don't have any big tech things here. We do have a lot of cool cameras, though, on our towers and above the roof of the studios. Thanks, Devin, for the comment. Anthony says, glad to see 54 on there. Hey, me too. It's been cold enough. It's nice to get a little bit of relief with those 50s. I'm right there with you. James says, Ethan, what is the thing you are most worried about going into the La Nina weather pattern? Nothing to worry about, and I did say I was going to explain that. And La Nina is a climate pattern. La Nina is kind of the cause-effect of warm temperatures, actually rather cool temperatures in the Central Pacific. So we'll take a pause real quick, and I want to explain La Nina just in case if you're curious. So Chief Meteorologist Steve Horsemeyer talks about this extensively. I don't know nearly as much about the history of El Nino, La Nina as he does, but I do know the scientific explanation. You get trade winds near the equator, and in this case, the normal trade winds, it pushes warm surface waters in the Central Pacific and moves them off towards, well, I guess the Central Pacific. I guess this is the Eastern Pacific or Western Pacific, depending on your compass. But right along the coast of the Americas, of the Pacific, do you have the warm waters that swell up, and then the trade winds move them off towards the Central Pacific. However, in a La Nina pattern, you get a little bit of stronger winds. That's going to allow for the colder conditions of the ocean to get closer towards the surface. So sea surface temperatures along the equator in the Pacific are cooler than normal. And that has a direct correlation with how our weather pattern is shaped up. Now, I will say there are different scales of La Nina in terms of, is it a strong La Nina or a weak La Nina? We're currently in a weaker La Nina, so our forecast isn't as influenced as a stronger La Nina would have. But we do have a forecast of it getting to be stronger early next year. But either way, though, La Nina does have a direct correlation to how our forecast is. So what you typically get is the Pacific jet. So this is the Pacific air mass, allowing for those temperatures to be warmer than normal. And you have the polar jet, which has the colder than normal conditions, that air mass. And these jet streams kind of collide with those air masses. Around this time of the year, fall, spring, transitioning into summer or winter, you typically get those battling air masses. You get big changes in temperatures and moisture near these air masses. And it's just because there's such a drastic change of conditions at the surface and aloft in these situations. So this is a normal La Nina. And a normal La Nina has this big Pacific ridge right over the southwest, which allows for wet conditions in Northern California, Northern Nevada, into Oregon and Washington. And with that, also cooler conditions. It pulls in some of that Alberta, Alaskan air mass over the high plains into the high Rockies. And then that polar jet sweeps down into the Great Lakes region and allows for kind of a trough to develop here. And that tends to allow for snow in the Great Lakes region. Now, for the eastern half of the U.S. with La Nina, you get this dry, warm air mass here because, again, the Pacific jet, you have this big area of high pressure here, and it allows for those dry conditions to persist and warm conditions kind of because of the Gulf of Mexico, those winds kind of pull in some of that warm air. And for us, we're kind of caught in the middle between those two air masses, and it tends to give us wetter than normal conditions. However, I mentioned this is a weak La Nina, and when it's a weak La Nina, in this particular situation, the polar jet a little bit further north, the Pacific jet a little bit further north. So everything's kind of pushed up. So the wetter than normal conditions are oftentimes in a weaker La Nina further north towards the Great Lakes region, which it has been evident of that because of all the lake effect snow. And the dry and warm conditions a bit further north, which is also evident for folks in the southeast as well as into the southern plains. And that colder than normal air is also a little bit further north into Canada and far northern portions of Montana, the Dakotas, and Minnesota. But as we get closer towards January, February, March, you might see this pattern begin to amplify a little bit, meaning that it's going to look more like this as opposed to what we're currently dealing with. So if you recall a couple months ago on 19atSIX, I did mention that I believe that our winter is going to have more soggy than snowy conditions. However, with January, February, March, with that La Nina getting stronger, they might have an influence of colder conditions. So you might see some late winter snow here in the tri-state. Steve Horsemeyer actually has been talking about that. We've been having a lot of discussions about that. But of course, that's really far out. As we get closer, new data will give you the heads up. But thanks, James, for the question. Nothing alarming, nothing scary about this. This is a normal climate pattern. It's just, it's a really cool thing to look at because it does have a direct correlation with how our forecasts are. El Nino, the same thing. It just means warmer than normal conditions along the Pacific, and it tends to give us drier than normal conditions here into the Ohio Valley. Temperature-wise, we don't have much of a correlation with here in the Ohio Valley with either La Nina or El Nino, but by looking at where the polar and Pacific jets are, you kind of get an idea of the temperatures that could be expected. Good questions. Susan says, enjoying the Christmas parade in Blanchester. Beautiful area there in Blanchester. Awesome to see that you're enjoying that parade. And the conditions actually pretty nice for that compared to the last couple of nights. And thank you, Susan. I'm having a great evening. I hope you are as well. Look at my Facebook page real quick before we sign off. We'll take one last look at the 7-day here in just a second. One of my friends, Nicole, is commenting. Says the youngest fan is watching in her bear suit. Thea is 4 weeks old. Thank you, Nicole, for sharing that. Darla says, are there any indications of a big snow coming before or after Christmas? Right now, no. Right now, it looks like leading up to Christmas, we are looking at temperatures cooling down. But the moisture right now, there's a lot of question marks, but nothing, there's no strong indications of any big snows. So Darla, right now, I'm a little pessimistic about any kind of snowy conditions just before Christmas. Alex, what causes the warm spurts in the middle of these cold patterns? Well, it's a good question. And I was just referring to that. Let me take a drink of my liquid death real quick. So these warm spurts occur in this, as we're getting into winter. In the Ohio Valley, we're kind of stuck between two different air masses. Again, that's kind of the climate pattern of what we typically see. Let's go ahead and jump forward to Tuesday and Wednesday. So this is a look at heights of the atmosphere. So the atmosphere, there are different layers. The different layers are warmer and colder, and there is a direct relationship between temperature and pressure. So colder conditions, you tend to get the lower pressures. Warmer conditions, you get the higher pressures. So with that, you do have this kind of pattern here shaping up. In the fall, or I should say late fall, winter, and late winter, this pattern is amplified. So you get a lot of warm, cold, and what we're currently situated with here, this is December 10th and 11th. And mind you, this is looking at Monday. Monday's really warm. You go into Tuesday and Wednesday, you get a big sharp drop in temperatures because the atmosphere here is having lower heights, meaning that colder air is going to be developing here. So this is looking at December 11th. And then, as I mentioned, towards the end of the 7-day into the 14-day forecast, temperatures get warm really quick. And that's because with this pattern being amplified, as the cold air moves off to the east, the warm air is going to come right back in. It's kind of, might be cheesy to say, but it's kind of a battle of air masses. Because when you have this amplified pattern, you get the warm and cold air really close together, and that's going to allow for these big temperature swings that you typically see here in the Ohio Valley. You typically see it more so in the early mid-fall as opposed to late fall into winter, but you do have occasions like this where it does happen in late fall and early winter. So again, our forecast going up and down with the temperatures is because of the fact that you get this ridge wave pattern that's very amplified, where you have these really cold conditions moving in with this trough, we call it. So lower heights, and in the ridge, the higher heights, the warmer air is influenced with it. So this is, again, kind of a brief explanation. Hopefully it made sense. But we are, lost my train of thought. We are looking at, again, this up and down temperature pattern because of just how close the air masses are together. That polar jet, remember that for the La Nina map, the polar jet's right here. And that's the separation between the air mass that's temperate versus the polar air mass, the much colder air. Okay. Hopefully that answered your question, Alex. Thanks for asking. No other comments or questions. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this because I want to show the 7-day, and then I got to sign off here and get ready for our newscast, which, by the way, we're going to go on late tonight because of college football. I believe it's college football. and I think we're going on at 11 o'clock-ish, roughly. So you can join us then. And of course, if you're going to go to bed at that point, you can always get the forecast at fox19.com/weather or the First Alert Weather app. Now again, the 7-day forecast, warm, cold, warm. 54 for Sunday, 56 Monday. Rain moves in Sunday night, lingering into Monday morning, and a few isolated showers in the afternoon. We go into Tuesday, another round of scattered showers. Temperatures not quite as warm, so 49 degrees. And then a cold front moves in Tuesday night into Wednesday, and that system's going to bring in that rain-snow mix going into early Wednesday morning. Temperatures fall down into the mid-20s. And then Wednesday afternoon, a high of 33 degrees, a few flurries, blustery conditions, perhaps a few light snow showers, maybe Wednesday evening into Wednesday night. Thursday, partly cloudy and a high of 32 degrees after a morning low of 19 degrees. And this is kind of the climax of that trough, of that really cold air that is going to be centered over the Ohio Valley. So let me go back to that map real quick. This is Thursday, which 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the 12th of December. Let's jump to the 12th. So here you have it. That 19 degrees, that's because look at how close that dark blue is to the tri-state. So that colder air is going to sink in into the Ohio Valley region. So that's why we're going to be so cold on Thursday morning. So let's jump to that 7-day again. So Thursday morning, 19 degrees. And Thursday does look dry now. Some encouraging news. But it is going to be a mix of sun and clouds and cold. High of 32. But I should have kept that map up. Once we go into Friday, those heights increase really quickly as that cold air moves off to the east. The warm air kind of takes advantage of it. The cold air is really dense. It's closer to the surface. That warm air, it's kind of easy to push off that cold air. And it's going to allow for temperatures to climb up into the mid-40s. Saturday, 48, and a chance of rain does move in Saturday night going into the latter half of next weekend and continues into the following week. So that is 19atSIX. That's a 7-day forecast. Again, I got to get ready for the newscast. Got to get some more stuff updated and get some graphics updated. That way we can give some cool lifestyle graphics. We call them lifestyle, basically events, things like that we like to highlight here in the tri-state. And again, there's a lot of cool events going on. The Kings Island Christmas Parade, Blanchester's Christmas Parade, Cincinnati Zoo lights. There's just so many cool things to do. I know meteorologist Ashley Smith and then our anchor and reporter Courtney King were talking about going into Newport. They have a cool little trail of different holiday lights you can see in and around downtown Newport. So it's really, really cool. There's so many fun things to do in around the holiday season here in the tri-states. So take advantage of it if you can, because again, tonight, pretty warm in comparison to the last few nights. And then Sunday, 54, although you can't see lights during the day. I mean, it's not as fun, obviously. But then Sunday night, unfortunately, not great for that because it's going to be really wet, especially late. And then more rain on Monday and Tuesday. But again, for more details on the First Alert forecast, you can always follow along on the Fox 19 First Alert Weather app, fox19.com/weather, the 24/7 weather streaming channel, and of course right here on Fox 19. That'll do it for our Saturday edition of 19atSIX, our weekend weather show. Again, we're going to go on late tonight after 11 o'clock, roughly, depending on how late the game goes. But of course, if you want to always get those conditions, First Alert forecast updates, all those places I mentioned have all of that. And also, don't forget, meteorologist Ashley Smith will be with us. Actually, take that back. She's not going to be here tomorrow. Special guest tomorrow is going to be meteorologist Jeff Creighton, filling in for Ashley. Ashley's had a funky schedule this week. But Jeff will be here tomorrow morning, and he'll give you that First Alert forecast from 7 to 10 a.m. And then, of course, I'll be back here tomorrow for our Sunday edition of 19atSIX. Have a wonderful and safe Saturday evening.